Welcome to the Jeff Knows Inc. Entrepreneurial Podcast with your host, Jeff Lopes. Jeff has over 2 decades experience as a serial entrepreneur, building brands like Kimura from his home basement to a multi-million-dollar global brand that has sold over 250,000 pairs of boxing gloves. Jeff's here to educate, guide, and drive you on the process of bringing your ideas and dreams to reality with the inspiring stories from some of the top business minds.
Welcome to episode 112 of the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. Super excited to have on today the one and only DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, founder of DDP Yoga, former wrestling champ. Incredible conversation, incredible individual. Sit back, everyone, and enjoy. We are live on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. Super excited to have on Diamond Dallas Page, DDP. Before we start, I want the audience to know how appreciated I am for him to come back on. We had some audio issues on the first recording, and I'm very gracious that he, out of his incredibly busy schedule, took the time to come on again. So thank you for that. First off, how are you, brother?
Oh, great, man. So everything's coming together beautifully. The business is just, and this is not a time of the year where fitness businesses boom, but we're still, we have so many amazing subscribers, and people love what we're doing with the product. So, changing lives and helping not people just change their life, but own their life. So it's very satisfying.
This conversation, we're going to take a little different because I really want to dive a lot of it into some of the stories of the experience that people have had with your program. And we're going to talk, before we went on air, we were just actually talking about Panama City and what you're actually building out there. Let's talk a little bit about that quickly. And then I want to talk about the story of Arthur. I want to talk about a couple of people on that you've changed and have kind of helped build this platform of what DDPY is all about. So let's talk about what your next venture is with the company, first off, with Panama City and all that.
Yeah. In Panama City Beach, we're actually, I went there to see some friends just to get away. Right in the middle of the pandemic, and Florida never really took the pandemic seriously. They kind of, you learn, people got it, and people did die, but most people just got sick and got over it, and they learned to live with it, and because that's what we got to do, because it's not going away. I tell everybody when they go, "Did you take the vaccine?" I go, "It's not a vaccine; it's a flu shot." Yeah. I just know because I just had a vaccine. I had a shingles because I'm 65 now. Yeah. I don't even think they'll give you that shot before 55, but you take 2 of them and you're done. Like, you can't get shingles. Yeah. So, that's I think the attitude that Florida had. And I just really liked how, it was, I grew up on the Jersey Shore, Point Pleasant, New Jersey, where literally my house was a mile from the beach, and I live in Atlanta now. So I've been landlocked for a long time. But I went out, lived in LA for a while, lived right off the beach, like a mile off the beach again, not even about half mile. And then I came back to Atlanta. I'm landlocked, and I went down there to Panama City Beach, and I was like, this place is so beautiful. It's so laid back. The beaches are amazing. And my buddy lives on the beach. And he was telling me that when he built it as a rental, he didn't build it to live it, even though he's living in there now. Yeah. And he told me how he made like ridiculous money. Like the first year, he made like 120 grand renting his house.
Yeah, I believe
Next year was like 180. The next year was 220. And then they decided to move down and permanent make it for themselves. And I thought, man, I could build a place just like this. Not just rent it out during the summer, but and make great money, but also I could do retreats there because I'll be going to Mexico in July, at the end of July, for our last retreat that we're going to do in Mexico. We've done them 10 years in a row. Well, last year we didn't, but this is our 10-year anniversary of actually doing it in Mexico. It's a beautiful place. And literally, I had people from the year before, so I had to go down and do this one. And at the time, there was only like 15 people. And just the other day, maybe about 2 weeks ago, I put it out there. I'm going to Mexico. If anybody else wants to come, we got bombarded in it, and it's sold out on our end. And there was no other rooms for people to even rent, because they can only rent 60% of the resort. But we have a great time down there, and it should be probably about 50 people. Normally it's about 60, 70, 80 people. But what I'm going to do in Panama City Beach, there'll be 12. 14
very intimate.
Yeah, very intimate. And they'll be living on the bottom 3 floors of my house. Downstairs will be like a game room, and the pool will be off that looks over the ocean. Then up on the next floor, it'll be, living area on one side, and the other side, if there's no classes or, working out or anything, we'll just throw big bean bags in there for kids, so kids can watch what they want on the other side of the room, on the other side of the wall, the fireplace in between them.
Have you started building already?
No, we just got the plans done. And there's so many things because of the turtles and everything down there that you got to go through like a bunch of red tape.
A lot of environmental stuff.
Yeah. So I was hoping, we'll have 1 floor on that second level, and it's going to be beautiful. I mean, really beautiful. Second floor, 2 of the rooms will be literally right on the ocean, and with a 3rd floor view. And then it'll be 5 other rooms up there, and then 1 deck out for people to come up, or sharing the place. And then the 4th floor is going to be mine and Paige's, and it's going to be super tricked out. So I can't wait. And plus,
what's going to end up happening? You're going to have all your buddies trying to crash out there for that ocean view.
And I'm going to have it like sequenced where people are going to come, then they'll be there. And what's great is I can go right up to my own floor, and not when I want to check out, I can just check out. And we're glassing. One of my really good buddies, his name is Van Hammer, back in wrestling days, but he runs on the East Coast one of the biggest, those windows that are bulletproof, because of all the storms that they went through there.
Yeah, of course.
And his windows are 150 mile an hour proof. And I'm talking about 150 mile an hour piece of wood, like a 2x4. They shoot it at the doors, the glass, whether it's doors or windows, and they shatter, but they're sealed in plastic.
Yeah. So it's like a car window almost.
Right, but even more. If a car window, if it was bulletproof.
Yeah, exactly. So what I meant, it does the same effect. It shatters, but it stays it's sealed always. Yeah, which is pretty amazing.
And that's one of the things I learned about the hurricanes. If you get a small hole, that's what destroys your house, because that wind's so powerful and so strong, it's so impactful that it just rips through your house. So it's pivotal. Like those, literally, the glass doors and windows, we're going to have glass. So you're looking out straight at, and we just slide them down.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. And the most important thing is my buddy Van Hammer is going to give me cost on, I'm sure I'll mark up a little bit, which I would expect, but it's going to be way better than just buying, because there's going to be a lot of glass in this house. So we're really excited about it. And another sweetest thing is Florida is one of those 5 states that don't pay income tax.
Yeah.
And that's a big number. I pay a lot of money for taxes and a lot of money for income tax.
Well, that's why everybody's moving from LA to Texas now, right? To
Texas, Vegas, Nashville.
Yeah.
My buddy has his son is going to the new school, which is one of the new schools that open up for colleges in LA. He's a very gifted musician who works his ass off. And he just got an apartment.
This is Marlon's son?
Yes, Marlon's son.
I've been talking to Marlon. I saw his documentary. I've been talking to him on a regular basis lately.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Incredible person.
Yeah, he really is. And he's one of my best friends for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And his son, he just got in the area of Greenwich Village, which is ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
He got an apartment that was $4,800 a month for $19 1,800.
That's a big difference.
That means people want to get the hell out of it. Who wants to be in New York after what you just experienced? Now, it'll come back if there's no, if this pandemic thing slowly goes away, because people forget.
Human nature, it always like that. Everything, if you look at history, people do forget. I don't want to say forget, they just numb out from it and move on. Human nature, right? So they numb out and move on. I don't think anybody that's lived through all these. I mean, we're in Toronto, Canada. We're on a full lockdown again. Diamond Dallas Bay we're literally completely 100% shut down. We're on stay-at-home order. It's crazy. Schools are done for the year. Like in our school system, we had a 99.5% COVID free. So 99.5% COVID free, they announced. And then the next day they closed all the schools and they said we're done for the year. So our kids are all homeschooled now. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So we're just doing what we have to do to survive, right?
Wow. I mean, I can't imagine all of the business people, and the people, like, especially, like, I grew up in the restaurant and bar industry.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So far in Canada alone, 11.5 thousand small mama papa restaurants have all locked their doors. So I deal with, I don't know if you remember, so I manufacture boxing martial art equipment through my company, Kimura Wear.
Yeah.
And so I deal with all the small mama papa martial arts gyms in Ontario alone, which is our province, our state. So far, 72 gyms have all locked their doors. It's just crazy, buddy. It's crazy, but it's a triple effect, right? The tri-effect, because people don't realize. People are like, oh, sorry for the gym owner, but now it's affecting me because I don't have no way to sell to, so I'm getting affected. Now my suppliers, where I buy all my raw material for, they're getting affected. It's this whole effect, and people don't realize it, right? It's man, the economy is horrible here. Economy is absolutely destroyed here in Toronto, Canada. I mean, it's probably one of the best cities in the world to live in. It was, but man, we've been locked down since December.
So I can't even fathom that, because.
So you go to a Walmart or a Costco here, and all the aisles are blocked off. You can only buy food and walk out. You can't even buy anything at Costco or Walmart. You can't buy clothes. You can't buy nothing. So who's making money? Amazon. Amazon's making a killing, but everybody else is getting destroyed. It's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard. I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
There's so many things I want to get into. I'm going to name 4 wrestlers that I know that you had a huge part of your heart with, or had a big moments of stuff. Give me a short story of each one that you could just, something that really gets to you. I'll give the last one. I'm going to do Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, wow. I got so many.
Give me one story that just like, it's to put a smile on everybody's face.
Well, this is me in the American Dream.
Oh, what a great picture, huh?
3 years ago.
Look, how many years?
33 years ago.
I was going to say, you look like a baby there.
Here's the funny part, okay? I was engaged to a girl named Victoria Clark at the time, from Toronto, up in Ontario, okay?
That's where we're from, Ontario.
Yeah. And beautiful sweetheart. And, we had split up. It was mainly that, being on 2 parts of the world. She was at that point was in Vancouver. I was in Florida, Fort Myers. It wasn't meant to be, but it was a lot of fun while it lasted. And we had split up, and I was pretty bummed out about it. And Dusty went from Tampa, where he lived at the time. He was running Florida Championship Wrestling. I was working for him then. And it was really part-time. I was running a big nightclub in Fort Myers. But Dusty came down with his wife, Michelle. And this is Dusty getting up and singing with Willie Nelson.
That's awesome.
That same night. And just amazing memory. But without Dusty Rhodes, there is no Diamond Dallas Page. And I always say, without Jake the Snake Roberts, there's no 3-time world champion. Without the 2 of those cats, I'm never a Hall of Famer. But they really mentored me amazingly over my time. And here's a conversation I was having with Dusty at one point. I was 38. It was 1994. And by this time, Bischoff had what I call put him out the pasture, like meaning that he was booking and he wanted something different, but he still wanted to have Dusty around. He didn't want him to go to New York, work for WWE, because he was too valuable. So they kind of pay him and put him out the pasture and use him in those scenarios for his, consulting and stuff. But for me, it was pivotal because I'd been best friends with Dusty at that point for 6 years, and he didn't have to spend all the time working. So I could call him at any time and talk about whatever. Most times it was about the business. Yeah. And I was really bitching this one night. And then at some point, man, I said, listen, Dust, I know I'm never going to be you or Rick or Hulk. I know I'm never going to be the world champion, but these sons of bitches went, that is enough. What did you just say? Now after Jeff, I feel kind of stupid there. I go, well, Dream, I know I'm not going to be you. Then I try to explain it. I go, if I would have kept wrestling when I was 23, no, D, what did you say after that? Actually, I said, I know I'm not going to be you or Rick or Hulk. And he said, no, what did you say after that? I said, well, I know I'm never going to be the world champion. He said, then what the hell are you doing it for? That is, if you don't believe that you could be the world champion, as hard as you work, as far as you come, D, you need to get the hell out of our business right now. And he kept talking. And I can't tell you a thing he said after that, because I felt like he reached to the phone and just bitch slapped me, And I looked down and I see this yellow ledger pad that we put on, for people who made calls, leave a message for your wife or whoever. And while he was talking, I wrote down, I will be the world champion in 5 years or less. It was 4 years, 4 months, and 14 days. 6 days after my 43rd birthday. Now, the crazy part is, if you remember, I said, I know I'm never going to be you or Rick or Hulk. That night, I stepped into a 4-way dance match, and I stepped in the ring with the Hulkster, the Nature Boy, and the Stinger. Now, I tell that story. I tell this story occasionally when I'm doing a cameo, depending on what people want from me. Yeah. I'm always going to give them some kind of story. People go to cameo.com, they can get, stories from me talking about the past stuff. And just let them, give them a little, feel like a fly on the wall. And one time I'm telling the story, I stop, I go, wow, I never realized that. I said to him 4 years earlier that I'm never going to be him or Rick or Hulk. Yet 4 years later, I step in the ring with Rick and Hulk and the franchise.
Yeah.
Can't get any higher than that.
Yeah.
And Ric Flair takes a diamond cutter in the middle. And Randy Savage, the guest referee, hands me that world title at 43 years old. You have to understand also that about 4 months before this, I blow my back out. They tell me, you're done. 3 spine specialists tell me you've ruptured your L4 and L5. You might as well say I broke my back.
Yeah.
You're done. In less than 3 months, because of my program, I'm back in the ring. At 42, those doctors say I'm done. At 43, I'm the world champion. So the next day, I'm leaving for Spokane. That was in Tacoma, Washington. And now me and Kimberly are leaving for Spokane because that's where Monday Nitro is. And my cell phone rings. I just got this. I'll never forget it. And it rings and I pick up the phone. And before I can say anything, I hear that voice. And he said, so D, how'd it feel? I said, it feels real, Dusty. It feels real. He said, that's because it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you can't get a better story than that.
You named him Randy Savage. And why I'm saying this, I just saw a documentary the other day on him, on his life. They have a really good documentary on. Give me a story of Randy Savage. Did you have a good relationship with him, or was it more just professional?
He loved me. Like, if it wasn't for Randy Savage, again, I never lived the life because it was all about Scott and Kev and me helping both of them. And Kevin talked to me about, mentioned me in his Hall of Fame speech, how if it wasn't for me, he probably would never have his beachfront home on the beach in Daytona, Florida. And because he wanted to quit a couple times because he was depressed and it looked like it was never going to happen. And I would go, don't you let them quit. Don't let them run you off, big man. You're going to be one of the biggest stars in the world. I tell him all the time. And of course, he became one of the biggest stars in the world. Well, those two guys, they agreed to my idea of me not joining the NWO and snub them twice, third time put on the shirt, then drop them. And that sent my career to the Netherlands. But it also, Randy and I had been talking for years. And at this point, he asked Bischoff if we could do an angle. Now, that's the biggest thing that ever happened to me. So we end up, there's so many great stories, but we end up, wrestling in Spring Stampede. It was his idea to put me over because we tried it the night before we went to Spring Stampede and the place went crazy. So and every night I ever worked with him before that, I got left laying by the NWO. Drop a couple cutters and boom, you're done. Take a couple elbows. And so now it's Thanksgiving. And back then, there was no phones. This is 97. But there were beepers that people could text on. So I get a bunch of these texts.
I had those.
I'm out at a bar, having a couple drinks with some buddies, and I keep getting these texts. Dude, thank you so much, man. Thank you for helping me live the dream. I mean, I could name 30 guys I got jobs for that I was directly responsible for. My favorite was Canyon would always be trying to get Billy Kidman in. And I didn't know him. And, I had already helped too many people. And I was like, bro, I can't keep bringing Bischoff people. He goes, just watch this. Just watch this finish. I said, oh, go ahead, throw in the VHS tape. And he did that shooting star press, right? I was like, wow, that was impressive. Bischoff lived 2 houses from me. I walked down to his house, went to a commercial, comes up, that he's watching on TV. I go, hey, you want to see a great finish? He said, absolutely. He said, check this out. I put it in. He goes, wow, that was impressive. He goes, what's he doing now? I said, looking for a job. Next thing you know, he was on a developmental deal. But it was guys like that. I got Canyon, Glacier. I mean, so many guys. So Disco, fucking Raven. I mean, it goes on and on. Well, I'm getting all these texts, and I'm thinking, man, who doesn't know that I'm grateful, like, for what I'm doing? And I thought, well, Kev, Scott, Dusty, I mean, they all know. Jake, they all know. Who doesn't know? Randy. So I pick up the phone. He never answered the phone ever. I left him a freaking message. I say, hey, Randy, this is going to sound kind of corny, but a lot of guys are texting me, thank you, for helping them out and, and getting them to help them live the dream. And I started thinking, who doesn't know that I'm grateful to them? And I thought, bro, I don't know if you noticed or not, but it's not lost on me that I'm not living this life. I was a wrestler of the year in 1997 in WCW. Got a big trophy right over there. I was number 4 in the world in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. My life in 1 year dramatically changed. And I said, man, I don't know if you know it, man, but I'm so grateful. And I really appreciate it. And I'll never forget you. Have a great Thanksgiving. And I hung up. So, that was on Wednesday. Monday, we have TV. And I walk in, and, if you've ever been back in one of those arenas, they're huge. And, I was just walking to the locker room, and Randy is walking from, down the hallway. You can see me, Diamond. He starts picking up pace. Like, he was that intense guy, like most of the time. Yeah. Like the guy you see on TV, he was just a little bit less amped up, but it wouldn't take nothing to put him up there. And he's like, come here. And I'm like, what the hell did I do? I completely forgot about, everything, And I get up to him, and he grabs me and he pulls me in the office, and he says, I got your message. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. And I listened to it. A couple of times. Yeah. And then I called my dad, and I played it for my dad. And I said, Dad, did any of the boys ever do something like this for you? And he said, no. He said, I just want you to know it meant a lot. And then he hugged me, like lifted me off my feet. And I was like, dude, I go, I meant every word of it. He goes, I know you did. And, it just, please and thank you. They cost nothing, but they could mean the world to people.
100%. 100%. Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect.
I broke in with Kurt Hennig as a manager.
I saw a picture. You were his manager, right?
Yes. Where do I have that shot? Here it is. This is a great shot. This is me and him and one of my diamond dolls.
Oh, look at the hair.
And it was his dad's idea that maybe I could manage him going to WWF. Of course, it never went anywhere because, I'm just too big, especially WWE. They saw me and they were like, he's great, but he's Andre the Giant as a manager, And we just hit it off. And I come to the AWA. I'm doing my first show ever. And I've got this big crate, like something you'd see in the old movies, like the big, it's not a duffel bag. It was, because there weren't duffel bags really then. It was like a box, and it had a little latch on it, and you could lock it, and you flip it open. And I got all these crazy clothes, stuff like this. Or this jacket here, got like all sorts of crazy clothes, and that's how.
In that picture, is that Brutus the Barber Beefcake?
No, this is actually Bad Company. That's my very first day in the AWA, and I know that because I only brought that girl one time, and she was really. We were together at the time occasionally, and I was a little bit of a crazy player then, but because I was running nightclubs. I mean, that was my real job, especially back then. Because when I got this gig at the AWA, I only worked one day a month. They'd fly me in. We'd do 4 television shows. So I got this big crate with all these clothes in it. And one of the guys said to me, boy, it won't be long before WWE is calling you. Like I look like I belong there, But again, I was too big. But so Kurt, first night doing TV. And I've already done 3 TVs. And he's sitting across from me. And he goes, do it for me, Diamond. I go, do what? He goes, do it, do that thing you do. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. What do you mean? He goes, good God. He goes, do it for me. I go, good God. He goes, oh, I love that. He goes, you got it, kid. So we go to the bar that night and we just end up drinking that whole night together. Now, I grew up in the bar business. I got the hottest club in Fort Myers, Florida. That's the hottest place from Sarasota to Cuba. I mean, it's killer. And we just sat around drinking and telling stories and bonding. And he told me, he said, this right here, the time you spend with the boys in the car and at the bar, that's where you're going to make your relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like so true. You know, it was so true. If you were a guy who was coming in and you were, you were booze free and you were a new guy coming in, you almost didn't have a chance, because you never would have really got that unless you did like Triple H did. Like Triple H didn't do anything. Like he didn't drink, he didn't take drugs, he didn't smoke pot, he didn't take pills, he didn't do anything. So like he had a work ethic that was as equal to mine. That's what I would, and that's a hell of an honor if I say that to you, because nobody worked harder than me. The Rock's got that same kind of work ethic. But when he left WCW, he was only there for a year. And they wanted to re-sign him and give him a bump up. And he was like, yeah, no, I grew up in Boston, man. I want to go WWE, And I called up Kevin Nash. And I said, listen, Kev, I said, there's kids coming up there. His name's Paul Levesque. Great kid. Doesn't drink. You don't do anything. I said, but for you and Sean and Waltman and Scott, he's like your sober driver. And that's who Paul was in the beginning. And he was learning from them guys. He was learning from the best, Sean and Scott. And then Kev. I mean, Kev just really, really grabbed psychology. To me, Kev is the best working big man ever because he could work with anyone. He could work with Big Show. He could work with friggin' Rey Mysterio. And he put Rey Mysterio over. And everybody said he was crazy. He was a booker at the time. He said, I'm going to let Rey beat me. And they're like, what? Everybody flipped out about it. But then look who Rey Mysterio became. Like Kev saw it in him way before anybody. So that's my Kurt Hennig story. Great, great dude. And being able to literally win the United States champion from him, that was a big deal. That was a big deal. I won my first world title from the Nature Boy. I mean, that's a big deal. Intercontinental champion, you always think one of the best is Kurt Hennig, So, to get that United States championship from him and the world title from Rick, that's a pretty big deal.
I'm going to talk about your title in a sec. So many of your friends have gone. They're no longer with us. How is that? Like looking back at your career now, and you build all these memories, these moments with these amazing humans that you guys connected at different levels at the bar. Like you said, you guys have a different connection than the world would understand because you guys are on the road how many days a year? You're literally, they're your family. And now seeing how many of these individuals are gone, and it's sad because their legacy is not really there. Like these are, if they played another sport, it would be Hall of Famer. Like they're all Hall of Famers, but they would be at such a high level. How's your mind when you look at that and see all these like Kurt Hennig and the British Bulldogs and like there's so many.
Bam Bigelow, Chris Kanyon. I mean, like so many guys, man. Well, back then, and you got to give a thumbs up to the WWE because their wellness policies is really strict. Like the biggest thing that kills the boys was painkillers and muscle relaxers and booze. The combination of. But what people don't understand is that fake shit hurts like hell.
Oh,
you can't fake gravity. So we're out there, and the fans were real fans like yourself and people who really respect what we do. They realize, like, wow, you really beat up your body, just like the NFL guys. Like I look at, I heard Mongo just got ALS, and I feel so bad for him on that, man. But his immune system had to be so down because he beat himself as a defensive lineman. Like especially growing up like the way he did. Like today, they don't hit as much because they know what damage it does. I'm talking about practices.
Yeah.
But in a game, as a running back, you run 6 times, you might get hit 6 times, maybe not. And the rest is just throwing blocks here and there. But as a lineman, you hit every single down.
Yeah.
And you beat the hell out of your body. As a wrestler, it's like having, but those NFL guys play once a week.
Yeah.
And
for only for a few weeks a year.
Right. Now they're at 17 weeks. They just increased the schedule. Yeah. So maybe it's 20, you get all the way to the playoffs and finish up. Maybe it's 24 or 20, the 17, maybe it's 22-ish game. It's a lot, but it's not like us. Because they're not doing it today because of COVID. But right before COVID, you can bet your ass all those top guys are working 250 plus days a year. And when you're off, you're not hurt because you're hurt pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
When you're injured, like I tore my rotator cuff, I tore my meniscus, I broke my back. It's like then you're off. And then you start work. Your first thing you worry about, will I come back? And when I come back, where will my spot be? You just worked your way all the way to here. You got hurt. You just dropped down again.
Yeah.
So, I'm just glad it's, companies and AEW isn't like that. They're not, I've been around a lot of those young kids and I'm surprised too, because those kids take a ridiculous beating, but I never really ran into any guys who were pillheads there at all, which was shocking to me. WWE, you can't be at all. Like you taking a Percocet, you better have a prescription and the doctor at WWE better know about it. Like ain't nobody popping one night I was out with Jake.
Yeah.
And by this time, I've already been let go from WCW. I started wrestling 35 and a half. 9 months in, I tore my rotator cuff. And they let me go. Jake had come and spent a small stint with WCW. And I met Jake in my nightclub years before that. He'd come in a couple of times. One of my favorite shots is he told Ted DiBiase it's like show and tell here. I've got all these pictures back here, but the ones I use all the time, I put on my desktop here. So Ted, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase comes in and me and him start drinking. And this is us doing upside down shooters, like counting 1, 2, 3, 4. And it will be like at the end, you just go, cut it. And he cut it. We got up to 22. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tequila, straight in. And we were pretty drunk. But the Bushwhackers, I had so many guys in. So that's what really fueled me. Because I tried to wrestle when I was 23. I had 3 matches. I actually wrestled. And my 3rd match where I got hurt was in Quebec. I went up there to do a TV. And on the 2nd match, when I went over the rope, torqued my knee really bad. It was the same knee that I got hit by a car when I was 12 years old. I walked out in front of it, it hit my right knee, my face bounced off the hood, and I flew 42 feet from the point of impact. It was a snowy day. They just slid. The lady didn't even have a chance to stop. I walked out in front of it. I wasn't paying attention. And but back over to let's see, 23, blew out there. What was I talking about right before I said Quebec?
You started off with Jake the Snake.
Oh yeah. So Jake, he'd come in my club, we met. Now he comes to WCW. It's like, Jake, me and Kevin would do anything, like drive his car, pay his bags, because we're at the bottom of the card. And we're just trying to learn at the hands of the master, of Yoda. As far as work, Dusty was the master of the business end and could work his ass off.
Yeah.
But Jake was the master of not just the interview, but the work and the storytelling in the ring. So it became super pivotal that Jake would be that guy that would help to escalate, my work in the ring.
So let's translate.
Wait. Let me finish the story. I want to finish that. So one night, me and Jake, when I tore my rotator cuff and I'm off, Jake's living with me at that time. And we're out and we're drinking at some club, after the show. And he popped a pill in his mouth. Like, if you see me ever do it, it'll be these things. And these are lozenges for my throat.
Yeah.
For Jake, I said, did you just chew on a Percocet? And he said, yeah. I said, why would you do that? They taste like shit. He's like, because when you chew something, it goes right to your brain and it gets in your blood system faster. I was like, really? I go, how many, man? I've seen you do that a couple times. And he goes, I don't know, 9, 10.
A day?
Yeah, that night. Like, I knew guys that took, seriously, 30, more, 40 painkillers and maybe muscle relaxers a day, spanned out. And if they were doing them early or at dinner or drinking with them, not a lot of them, but, a lot of guys did them, man. When Lex got busted for when Liz died,
yeah,
they only had 1,000 Vicodins. They thought he was dealing them. He wasn't dealing them. He was using them. He'll be the first to tell you.
Crazy. Crazy.
That's it. But you're trying.
That's one guy I'm shocked is still around.
Lex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. How that guy abused his body.
He abused his body, but I'll tell you what. Today he is the nicest human being.
Yeah.
On the planet.
It changed
because he knows. He found Jesus. And best thing ever happened to him. He could be a real douchebag, and he'll be the first to tell you. I'm not speaking out of school, not to me, me and I love Lex, but he can still be a douchebag. And today he's an angel. He's just, he's out there and he's telling the story and hoping other people maybe can learn from it before it destroys their life.
Yeah, I love that. Let's transfer into the documentary with Jake the Snake. How did that all come about? I know obviously there's a story behind it because he was in a really rough spot in his life. When was that phone call that you guys connected where it's like, okay, come stay with me and all that? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, I've been trying to help Jake for years, and I might do it in the days when he wasn't ready to help him. Maybe I'd buy something off of him that he had. One thing was this beautiful statue that he had. And, I spent, probably more than I should have on it, but it was to give him like some real money and to help him out. And later on, we'll come back to this spot here, but later on, when Kim saw how Jake had turned his life around, she sent him it back. That's how cool Kimberly is. So I'd reached out to him numerous times, and we had a few feuds because of the addiction, But I just wanted to fix that, and then screw it. It was about money and stuff as usual, but because when an addict is, they lie, they cheat, they steal. That's what they do, and Jake will be the first to tell you that. And I reached out to him and I said, "Listen, I've got this video of this disabled veteran that I helped. I want to send it to you. I know I can help you if you'll let me help you." So he sees a video, he calls me back, he goes, "Just send me the shit, I'll do it." I go, seriously, you'll do it? He goes, yeah. And I'm thinking, coin flip here, but I'm going to send it to him. So I call my buddy, Steve Yu, who is my business partner. He's the director. He's the president of DDP Yoga. He is the director of Resurrection of Jake the Snake. He directs everything that's on AEW. That's any storyline stuff. We pretty much do it. Our company's called Comeback Studios. And Steve oversees all that, along with our company. So back then, it's just, there is no Comeback Studios yet, and I tell him that I just sent Jake the program. He's like, Jake who? You're Jake the Snake. He goes, you know Jake the Snake? I go, dude, I never told you that story. Yeah. And so I tell him, and he says, you're moving back to Atlanta. If you moved Jake in with you, we could really help him. I'm like, bro, I lived with Jake for 3 months. You know why he didn't live with me any longer? Because he lost a 12-foot black cobra in my house when I was still with Kimberly. And she was like, he's got to go. Jake came back. I had to find the snake. He told me where it would have been. Had to find a snake, get a wrangler to come and get the cobra out. The guy's looking at me like, is he devenomized? I'm like, I don't know. And so we got him and we put him in a bag, in a box. And Jake came back 3 days later, because that's what an addict will do. They just run away. Yeah. So I was like, he doesn't need to be living with me, to do this. He could do it from his home. He goes, but think about the effect that being around us will have with him. At that time, he was 307 pounds. Yeah. So I called him back up and I said, here's the deal. I know you're in a really bad spot right now. I can't just do this without you putting work in first. I said, if you can get down to get down 20 pounds, I will move you to Atlanta. I'll take care of everything. And we'll go on this journey together. He's like, you're on. And within about a week, maybe 2 weeks, Jake lost 10 pounds. And he called me up. And I'm like, you're down 10 pounds, like, for real? He goes, for real. So I go, Steve, we got to go. Let's go. Let's go there now and let's film him. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to get with a guy who's beat up for sure, but I didn't know he was as fucked up as he was. Yeah. And all the way around, broken. Because when we got there and I said, okay, so let's, do some standing stuff, and every one move, he's got to sit down. He's blown sky high. Now I've gone shopping with Steve. So we've got all the food for him. So he can be gluten-free. He can be dairy-free. Like, I'm going to show him how good this is going to taste. Yeah. And we do like 3 moves, like touchdown side. I mean, every time he's sitting, like, and he's in such bad shape. And then I said to him, okay, so now we're going to go to the floor. And I'm just going to take you right down to the floor and help you get down there. And he's leaning, and then he just falls on his back. I go, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, you said go to the ground. I go, I didn't say take a bump. He goes, this is the only way I can get there. So now I got to figure out how to use the chair the way Arthur did. Yeah. And so that was the beginning of me figuring out how to create what I call DDPY rebuild. And what would come out of this, like when people go, oh, your workouts are going to be hard, you're going to kill me. My workouts start off in bed. Like, you can't get out of bed? My bed flex workouts Got 3 of them. They're all like 10 to 12 minutes, but they're going to strengthen you enough to do the chair force workouts where you're sitting in a chair. Then they're going to strengthen you enough that you can get up and use the chair for balance, for strength, help you get up and get down. That's how you can get those muscles back. People, as they get older, they just are beat up or immobile. They stop doing it because they can't do it easily. When it gets too hard, they stop doing it. Well, if you don't use it, you lose it. I've had so many guys, when I go reach your arm for a touchdown, that's it. They can't do this. So I start working them. And then before you know it, it's there. And then it's there. And then it's there. Now, it may never go here, but it's there at least. It's not back here, which I bet you here. I can't tell you how many wrestlers right now can't lift their arms over here. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's more like this. So when I'm cooking breakfast now, and Steve walks in with the camera, he goes, "So what do you think?" And I'm like, we're screwed. Man, I didn't think he was this beat up. And I've already promised him. It's like, I'm going to take you to Disneyland. And then, oh God, I got to take this group of kids to Disneyland. They're all criminals. You know, I'm like, what was I thinking? I was just like, wow. Well, we'll see. You know, I'm in. I've already said I'm going to do it. If he can really lose the 20 pounds, he's got to lose that 20 pounds still. And that son of a bitch within 4 more weeks had lost that other 10 pounds. I'm like, stop losing weight. We're coming back. And then we went back and I said, okay, we're bringing you up. And Jake just, did the right thing, and, it was hard. And when we got him up there, he was still drinking. And his thing to me was, I can drink 3 beers. That's all I need is 3 beers a day. That's all you need. Yeah. Okay. Then we got a 6-pack in the refrigerator. And Steve goes to me, he goes, "What the hell are you doing?" He can't drink. He just got through rehab. I go, he said he can drink. I'm giving him rope. Yeah. That week he did unbelievable. Steve comes up to me. We're filming everything. Because it was nothing. If something was starting to happen and there wasn't a camera, I'd go, everybody stop. Sean or Steve or, Nathan, whoever the hell it was, get down here. And we go right from it. So what did you just say? So it played right into, or Steve would just walk up with a camera like he did. Well, he came up to me. Jake's going to go to do an autograph signing. And he's already got a book, so he has to do it.
Yeah.
And he says to me, he goes, if there's no drama, it's not going to be any kind of an interesting documentary. I said, I want you to remember you said that. Because I know what's going to happen. That weekend, he went out. Steve walks up to me at the end of the weekend on Sunday when he's coming home. I'm on my desk on the computer and I'm on the phone. And he goes, "We've got a problem." I go, "We got a problem?" I go, "Dude, I got to go." I go, "What's the problem?" He goes, "Jake's fucked up." I go, "What do you mean?" "Yeah. The girl who was with him, who was an enabler to him, because he would do whatever Jake wanted, he's a mess." And that's where the scene is where we pick him up at the airport.
Yes.
And I'm not drunk. I had 2 beers. Yeah. And later he had 4 beers. Same conversation. Later he has 3. He only had 3 beers. And to watch Jake, because when this was all done, and it was very important to me that this documentary was the resurrection of Jake the Snake, not the what happened after Beyond the Mat. Yeah. So when my guys first put it together, and they weren't, we were only he hadn't gone to the Hall of Fame yet or any of that shit. But we were piecing it all together because we knew he was going. And when I saw it, I said, I I just stopped watching it halfway through. I go, this isn't the movie. Like, this is too much of the drama. This is too much of the bullshit. This isn't a negative fucking movie. I go, did Jake fuck up? Yes, he did. But he got back up and he got stronger. That's the message. And when it was all said and done, because I always told Jake, we will never let anyone see this unless you okay it. Because it's embarrassing. Like, over those times Jake screwed up and all the videos, YouTube videos we put out, he'd never look at them. It's hard to look at yourself. I tell people all the time, when your dad an addict, or they'll come to me about that, and I try to steer away from it. But if your dad's or your mom or your whoever it is that you're close to, and they don't think they are, film them when they're fucked up.
Yeah.
Because that's hard to watch.
Yeah.
Like, this is you. Because I would tell Scott, like, when you're so concerned with cool and everything he did, like Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, NWO Scott Hall was the coolest guy alive. And I'd say to him, when he would fall down after, and get back up again, I would say to him, I go, dude, I don't get it. Like, when you're like sober, you are so concerned with the cool element and making sure that is never tarnished. I go, when you're drunk, you're an asshole. Like, you're not cool. You're the antithesis of cool.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that helped him when, after we went through that journey. He fell down a couple times. He still does. And he'll be the first guy to tell you, I'll never say I'm never drinking again because I like it. And I'm like, I don't know what you like about it. Because maybe the first few are okay, but after a while, and I've seen them at all different levels. And the scary part is, and I'm so glad Jake got past it all, is the blackout period.
Yeah. Because
then you do stuff where maybe
you don't remember.
You see, one of the things both those guys knew, don't get in a car.
Yeah.
Do not get in a car. Do not drive.
Yeah.
So both of them had that. You could tell a smart addict when they give up their license. Jake just got his license again. Bought a new car, not actually a new car, an old, sweet, refurbished car.
Which car did you buy? What did you buy?
I can't remember now. I want to say it was some kind of cool ass caddy, but it might not have been. I can't remember. But it was a super great deal, and it was. He sent me pictures. I can't remember what kind of car it was though. But he
means a lot. He means a lot to you, doesn't he? Just the way you talk about him, it's just that you can feel his heartfelt, right? Jake, who you are, huh?
Jake is an amazing human being. He really is. Jake, who can't remember what he does, is not. And I would tell him the same thing. When he go, I haven't had anything to drink. I go, you don't act like this when you're sober.
Yeah. We
don't have these conversations when you're sober. So you can't tell me you're sober. So, and that was the hard part. And there was a point where it was killing me. I had 12 people in my house. That's where crews. Yeah, but not just that. We ran a company. Yeah. And instead of getting a business building, why do I need that? We're an internet company, and at the time we sold DVDs. Yeah. Later on, after we did your guys' version of Dragon's Den.
Shark Tank.
Yeah, Shark Tank.
We watch that here. We get that here. I watch it all the time.
Yeah, and I call the DDP Yoga Performance Center the house that Shark Tank built. We didn't get a deal. I didn't go there for a deal. I don't want those guys in my business. I don't want them telling me what to do because they had 5%. I don't let anybody tell me what to do. I listen to what everyone says. Yeah. And Steve will be the most, he has the greatest arguments ever because like I'm Captain Kirk and he's Spock. And so like there was something that this brand new website we're coming up with, which is super cool and really well thought out. And it's really well done. And it was one thing I really wanted to change on the front cover as you initially see it. But, you know, he talked me into not doing it, but he didn't actually do it. It was something that my girlfriend Paige, and I'd said it to her, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I see that." And I go, "Okay." I thought he was right, but I didn't want to concede immediately because Steve Yu's a genius and he's a marketing genius. And we're never about putting, you know, this or this on all of our stuff, you know, that's where we're inspiring people because we want it to be authentic. We want them to like come looking for it. Like, how did that happen? Yeah. And, you know, that's another reason why I think people are so, they love what we're doing, you know.
There's three things I want to talk about. I want to end off with Arthur, the story of Arthur, but let's two more things in between that quickly. All your titles, which is the most special one to you and why?
World title. You know, absolutely, because that was something that no one ever thought would be possible. You know, no one. You know,
Dusty Rhodes.
I think if I really put it on it, it's even bigger than that. It's a Hall of Fame rank because that's a title without. Yeah, that's a title without being a title. But for Ric Flair, you know, it was so good because me and Rick were a lot of this when I was there because he didn't really believe in me and didn't see it. And I just wanted to prove to him that I could do it and be in that spot. But there was always a bit of conflict. And then after wrestling, you know, I said some shit, he said some shit. And one day I just wanted to fix it, man. Because I love Ric Flair. I don't want to be at odds with him. Yeah. And they were doing his big coronation of the, you know, he's retiring, which nobody gets. Yeah. Because when you get Undertaker got a version of it, you know, Shawn Michaels got a version of it, but really nobody ever really gets that because normally you get hurt and you go off into the pasture, you know? So the bottom line is they dropped all the balloons on him that Monday night, Monday Raw. And we were doing an autograph session that Saturday. And I thought, I know what I'm going to do. And he walked in the room, and everybody, you know, swarmed him. And when it was finally just me and him, I was like, "Hey, Rick." He's like, "Hey, Diamond, how you doing?" I go, "I'm doing good." I said, "Can I talk to you for a second?" He's like, "Sure." So I pulled him off to the side and I said, "You know, Rick, I know over the years we've had heat together." And he's like, "Oh, Diamond, don't worry about that." I'm like, "Rick, I'm not worried about it. I want to fix it." I said, I know I've said some shit. You've said some shit. I said, I don't care, man. I don't want to feel this way about you. I don't want you to feel this way about me. I said, tell you the God's honest truth, man. I said, I don't know how it all got like this, and I don't give a shit. I'd love to start all over again. And I put my hand out. I said, I'm Diamond Dallas Page. And he popped. And he gave me a big hug and a kiss on the forehead. And that was the beginning of letting the shit go. Because I told him, I love Ric Flair. I don't want to have heat with the guy that I respect and, you know, love him as a character. I want to love him as a man too. And me and Rick started to get close, you know, after that, little bit. And then when Dusty passed, we both ended up at the same hotel in Florida. And we were way away from, you know, where most guys would have stayed. It was just like, I felt like Dusty set it up and we had a great time. And I almost thanked him then. And I decided not to do it because I thanked him, you know, for putting me over, but I didn't really thank him the way I thanked Macho or whoever. And I thought I'm going to do it when I get that Hall of Fame ring.
Yeah.
And when I get to the point where telling that story I told you earlier, about, the four-way dance, I stepped in the ring with Rick and Hulk and the Stinger. And I said, it is not lost on me, Ric Flair, that without you doing me that favor, I said, it put me one step closer to this podium. And I said, I just want to let you know, bro, I'll never forget it. And I appreciate it more than you know. And he popped. And later on that Monday, we, it's Monday Night Raw. And then next day, everybody's leaving. I was walking up to go to the hotel, the elevator, and Rick saw me. He was in the bar and he called me over. And he was like, Diamond, come on over here. What time are you leaving tomorrow morning? I said, 7. What? Who booked that shit? I go, not me. I go, God, I tried to change it, but I can't because everything's booked. Leaving WrestleMania Tuesday after Raw, right? Of course, everything's booked. He goes, you still in Atlanta? I said, yeah, I'm still in Atlanta. He goes, well, you and Brenda, my second ex-wife, you guys are coming with me. I go, what? He goes, yeah, I got the limousine, I got the Learjet, I got the whole 9. He goes, Rick, I've got so many bags, man. You can't fit them in that Learjet. He goes, just FedEx them home. He goes, you're coming with me. You're a Hall of Famer now. And this is a picture. Where the hell is that picture? Oh, man. Oh, there it is, right here. right in front of me. And this is me and Rick outside his Learjet that he's flying in. And when he heard it was my birthday that day, of course, we went out and took me to dinner and then sent me home in a limo, which is the Ric Flair style, which was the greatest end ever. So I got to say, well, of course, the world title, and Dusty always said to me, like, D, there's only 2 things that are real in this business of ours. That first world title and that Hall of Fame ring. And I got both, so pretty cool.
What's pretty amazing is there's 2 things. All the way through all your stories is how you reach out to everyone to thank them, that understanding of having that peace. And I think it's so special because I think a lot of people nowadays live this life where it's like, this is constant anger, this constant blame, this constant victim game. And the bare fact that you're living your life, you've accomplished so much, but you're living your life like reaching out to Ric Flair, like all these people, and just in showing your appreciation, showing the gratitude, understanding that you're at peace with yourself and you're happy with yourself. That shows a lot of how much you love yourself and how proud you are of yourself. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. And I think that's, of all this conversation we've had, I think that's probably the most special thing is you being that understanding of the gratitude and being able to pass that gratitude on to others. So I think that's very, very cool.
One of the things I try to share with people, and my girlfriend's name is Paige, Payge. Her last name, no relation, is McMahon. And we share a lot. We speak the same language. And she sent this to me one time. And she said, nobody wants to tell you why discipline is so important. Discipline is the strongest form of self-love.
Yeah.
It's ignoring current pleasures for bigger rewards to come. It's loving yourself enough to give yourself everything you ever wanted. And discipline is, and I'm not always disciplined, but I'm disciplined through a lot of things. And I also believe in living life with an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
And being grateful. I mean, that's why what has happened, like in my wrestling career, I made a lot of money, and I went through a lot of money. But what I've done, it took me 8 years to be an overnight success as a wrestler. Yeah. For DDP yoga to start to become a household name, and I'm branding it DDP. Why now? Why? Because I want people to stop calling it just yoga, because it's so much different.
Yeah.
And, what has happened, it took 8 years before I made a dime. At least within 4 years, I was making money in professional wrestling to live off of. I was $548,000 into this company. That's why it's important for people to watch Relentless. And I don't think you have it up there on your Amazon Prime in Canada, but if you go to positivelyunstoppable.com, you can watch it up there. I believe we have it. If you can go on my Facebook, you can probably find it there, because I didn't want to just share it or get it up on Amazon Prime. I wanted to have it where people could see it and share it, because you have to see that the struggle of everything, it's a part where it says ignoring current pleasures for bigger things to come. That's where discipline comes in. No, I'm not going to eat those donuts right now, because, my daughter's getting married, or I'm getting married, or something is happening. I'm going back from my college or high school reunion, like ignoring current pleasures. Because after you eat that shit, you feel like shit mentally anyway, and you're going to beat yourself up anyway.
Yeah. And
if you've actually gotten clean and eaten and are eating good, when you eat it, it's going to kick your ass. Like that current pleasure for boom. So for me, it's all about self-love. Like I tell people all the time, I wrote this book. Oh, really good. And still is today. Positively Unstoppable, the art of owning it. And that's about owning the 6-inch piece of real estate in between your ears. It's about really owning that inner voice, that story you tell yourself. And God, I tell people when they ask me, can you help inspire me? I'm like, read my book. But just don't read it. Read it and highlight as you go through it. All the things that stand out to you, that are lessons, that repetition. Example, Tom Brady didn't turn the heat up with the Bucks until the last 9 games. He didn't have any reps with that team ever. Not with that group of people ever. It takes reps, repetition. If you're a professional wrestler and you're only getting to wrestle once in a while, you're never really going to get that good. You got to do it all the time. And they wouldn't, in the beginning of my career, no one believed in me. So no one booked me unless someone got hurt or whatever. So I went down to power plant and started training guys. So every day I was getting reps. Might not have been the exact reps, but pretty close. It's about reps in everything we do. It's kind of like playing the guitar. If you play once in a while, you can learn a song or two, but you're never going to be any good. But if you play all the time, you can become great. And that's the exact same thing in everything. It's how I live my life. Like I wake up in the morning, I roll out of bed, I kiss Paige, I roll out of bed, get her coffee because she ain't going to get up right away. And I'm going to go downstairs and get in my hyperbaric chamber. And I'll be in there from an hour to an hour and 45 minutes. And what I'm doing right there is healing my body at a completely different level. I have a hyperbaric chamber that goes to 15 PSI, which means pounds per square inch, which is like being 15 is probably like being 40 feet below sea level with pure oxygen coming into your mouth. And if you really like, there's certain countries that make oxygen therapy like a priority.
Yeah.
Now, it isn't like our country here where big pharma, the drug companies run everything. There's no money to be made in hyperbaric chambers except for buying the chamber.
Yeah.
When you get to 12 psi, that's when your oxygen breaks the blood-brain barrier. So now you're getting oxygen on your brain. When you get oxygen on your brain, best example I can give you, Daniel Bryan. Daniel was like, you can't wrestle anymore. Your brain is too damaged. Remember?
Concussions, right?
Yes. At the height. I mean, no one was hotter than Daniel Bryan in the world. Remember he won the world title at WrestleMania, the whole thing? Yeah. And right after that, he had to retire. And he was gone for like 2.5 years. And I asked him, I already knew the answer, but I asked him, when I came back and saw him there, I said, so how did it happen? How did you get back here? And he said, hyperbaric chamber. I said, how often? Every morning, every night.
How long have you had yours for?
2.5 years.
Yeah, interesting.
So I I'm doing things. I used to say all the time, since I was 50, I've been saying, I'm not preparing for 65. That'll be here tomorrow. I'm preparing for 75, 85, 95, and believe it or not, 105. And I don't want to be here unless I can still be like who I am right now. A little bit more beat up, a little bit older. That's cool. I'm good with that. But I mean a little bit. I turned 65 last month. I mean, I can still take my foot up. And this is just an example of I've been sitting here for over an hour, taking my foot up here, and I'm gonna get out for these little things. Taking this foot here and pulling it up and putting it in your face, holding it there, and then taking it out here and putting it over my head and holding it there at 6'4", 224 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, and 65 years young. Now I can do that because I do it all the time.
Are you into stem cell research?
Asking. On the 30th, first of all, I've already had stem cells.
So you have
in both shoulders and both knees for the last. I did it like last time I did it was 15 months ago.
Where'd you go do it? Out of the country?
I have one of my best friends he's got in Baltimore. He has it's called Life Med Institute. He just did he's done twice. He's done Kenny Omega. He literally just did Johnny Morrison because he tore his meniscus. Does shoulders and knees. Now, where I'm going, and this is Kent, his name is Kent Backler, and they're in Baltimore. Just look up, anybody who's listening to me, Life Med Institute. If you tell him I told you to go there, he'll take care of you. And I'm not bullshitting. Like, it won't cost you as much as what the red label says. And it's expensive because what they're using is placenta.
Yeah.
Okay. Right from the baby, Where I'm going, where they use placenta, they can't inject in your body. Like the FDA won't let them here because we are so far always behind the times. Yeah. And blame Big Pharma.
Of course.
I'm going to the Bio Accelerator.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
They're in Colombia.
Yeah. I've heard of it. Yeah.
Me and my girl, Paige, are going now. Paige has broke her back twice. Once when she was 16 in a car accident, and once about 3 years ago, she was trimming 15 feet in the air, trimming it was something was hitting, the tree limbs were hitting her friend's guardrails on the house, the gutter rails. So she went up there with a chainsaw and was chaining it, chainsawing it, and it broke. And there's reasons why they always put a rope on something you're doing, so it doesn't swing back, because it broke, swung back, hit her, and she took a drop, a Mick Foley 15-foot drop on the hard ground. It wasn't cement, but it was hard ground. She broke her wrist, she broke her leg, and she broke her back again. Had to have a whole body cast on her. Second time. If you watch any of the workouts of her either doing or teaching DDP yoga, it'll blow your mind. You're like, that chick broke her back twice, full body cast. She's a stud. But she's going down there with me to do the bioaccelerator. They want athletes like myself and people who, are influencers. They take care of them. And I'm getting everything done. I'm getting my neck and my back and my shoulders and my knees.
So when you go down there, it's like a 30, because I know somebody that did go there to that actual location, and they were there for almost 30 days.
No, I want to be there for a week.
Only for a week. He was there for 30 days, where it was a whole program. It was workouts. It was diet. They changed everything. He was there.
Yeah, I already did everything.
Yeah.
I mean, people need that though. I mean, we really want you. I haven't drank in 3 weeks. It'll be a month before I get there. I won't drink for another month.
Yeah.
Again,
discipline.
What's the exact line? Let me find that exact line so I can say it again. Because it's all about reps. Ignoring current pleasures for the bigger rewards to come. You drink when you get something like that, it's going to add in inflammation, and it's going to go to the areas the stem cells are that you're injured. And I hurt this shoulder right after, probably 2 months after I did stem cells on my shoulder. I tweaked the hell out of it, and it's just never been the same. I can still, thank God, I can still do all this, and I can do push-ups and stuff. But right now, I'm not even doing it because I'm wanting it to heal and get the. We'll see if I do. That I am the test dummy for everything. I don't put anybody through anything or tell them to do anything that I don't do. One of the crazy things that I did, my brother turned me on to. It's this nasal thing that goes in your nose, okay? And then there's the water is up here, which has the salt water that you put in there, whatever it is.
It flushes.
Yeah, it flushes and then comes down and cleans it. Dude, I've not breathed like this since I was 12 years old and broke my nose the first time. I have not had full airflow, and I do it every day. Sometimes I'll do it in the morning and night. I mean, no allergy problems right now, nothing. Again, I'm going to put me through it before I'm going to tell people about it. And I've already probably sold 10 for that guy who's got that company. But
it's putting your health at such a high level, your priority, right? I mean, if you look at the top athletes, the top people that really take care of themselves, they allocate a certain amount of their income towards their health, and they put their health. And I always say this, I'm a true believer in health and everything we've been through with my son, but I put my health above everything else. If you can't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to serve no one around you, right? So you've got to be able to take care of yourself first. I think putting yourself at a higher level. This has been an incredible conversation. Hour and a half in already. You could talk forever, man. You're awesome, buddy. You're Hands down, just a good human being, man. So I wish you, I wish you all the luck in the world, man. I honestly, sincerely mean that, because you're just this the way you talk about people, your love for life, the way you take care of yourself, the way you're helping other people. So I wish you all the success in the world, man. I hope you continue your journey and change the lives of millions and millions along the way, man. And I hope you live to 115 and you're still strong.
I really don't. I mean, I am so at peace with my life and knowing what I do. Shit happens tomorrow and I die. DDP is going to blow up huge then, like huge, because it would get such mainstream attention that we don't get. Let me just talk about Arthur, because we're talking about people. 100%. You guys are trapped there.
Yeah,
you guys are trapped, which I did not know that you were back. I'm right here. We're loosening everything up. I mean, UFC sold out in 10 minutes. My buddy Michael Chandler, I've known him for 12 years. I've heard that kid got crazy work ethic, man. It's going to be a great fight tomorrow night. But not tomorrow, Saturday night. But that arena sold out now. Not 25%, 100%, because UFC has never cared. I can't believe WWE isn't back doing it. But as far as being trapped at home, go to ddpy.com, ddpyoga.com, either one, same thing, and get the app, because the app costs you nothing to try it. Get 7 days free on it, and if you decide to keep it, keep it. If not, just cancel the damn thing. But this is my poster boy. You want to see his video, because the pictures don't do him justice. This is him at 5'6", disabled veteran Arthur Borman. 5'6", 297 pounds, cannot walk without the aid of the knee braces, the back brace, or those wraparound canes for 15 years. This is day one. 10 months later, that's the guy.
Crazy.
From this,
crazy.
Look at his physiology.
Yeah.
To that. Now, he lost 140 pounds in 10 months. The focus is not about that. This is the focus, helping him become mobile again. From this guy to this guy. This is my favorite picture, though. When he first sent this to me, I'm like, Arthur, why is your son holding on to you? He said, because I'll fall if he doesn't hold on to me. Not anymore. That completely looks like a different person.
Okay, but you know what's the most important? Look at his face, his smile, his love for life. It's crazy. Like his face is what stands out, right?
No, 100%, 100%. From this guy now, remember, I have people stand up and they're just trying to, some people are just trying to hold their foot out, and some people can grab their knee, but he couldn't land. He couldn't stand on 2 feet. How's he going to stand on one? That's how.
That's awesome.
Now, to the day, like I said, he lost 140 pounds. More importantly, he lost the knee braces, the back braces, and the canes, not just to walk, but run. But this is my favorite picture of all. I didn't ask him to do this. He just took this picture. 1 year to the day from starting the program. He's 5'6". Took a picture of his 6'1" son standing on his back in plank. Like, I would never ask him to do that, but he did it. He's the only guy I ever see do it ever. But that's what my program is. We're not just stretching. We're stretching and strengthening the muscles, ligaments, and tendons. It's not just DVDs anymore. It's an app that can be gotten instantly. And like I said, the workouts start off in bed, chair, stand strong using a chair. Then you go to beginner, all the way to the psycho extreme stuff, that I do. And I only do that like once a week just to keep that as far as doing really psycho extreme stuff. But also every Monday, anybody who starts a program, they need to be inspired. They need to have that daily motivation. So every Monday, I put up Motivational Mondays, and there's over 300 of them up there. Every Tuesday, it's a new workout. There's over 300 workouts on the app. Every Wednesday's new cooking shows. It could be me cooking. It could be my daughter, Brittany. It could be us together. It could be me and my girlfriend, Paige. It's all different people that over the years that I've brought in to come up with special recipes that taste amazing. Now I cook everything gluten-free, dairy-free, and organic. You don't have to eat organic, but just so you know, when you're not eating organic, you're eating all of the pesticides that they spray on. So wash that shit good, but you're still never going to get rid of all the pesticides. So really important to try to eat as organic as possible. You don't have to eat gluten-free. You can use the other stuff, but it don't taste that much different. If anything, it tastes better because it's lighter. Yeah. Just try it this way because you're going to be blown away that you don't really tell a difference. Now you're going to tell the difference health-wise because your country has got just as much GMOs in the food as our country now.
Yeah, 100%.
And now people are finally getting smart to that. So everything is healthy way of eating that tastes amazing because I don't care how good something is for you. If it doesn't taste great, I'm not eating it, period. Then every Thursday is new tip of the week. Every Friday, and this is the one thing that I would tell you to go, if you're thinking about doing this program, go on Facebook. It's one word, DDP Yoga, just like this. It's because I for my company, it's DDP and yoga. I separated the words. For this one, though, this is a group of people who do the workout. And it started with just my buddy Chris Gabriano started it. Now it has over 60,000 people on that page. And it is the most, it's the best community on the planet. I would say I'm reading a book right now, but I'm actually listening to a book right now called The Power of Habit. And it's amazing. I do all these things. But it's good to hear. And this is something that they wrote, and I took down exactly the way they said it. People must believe that change is feasible. The same process that makes AA so effective. The power of a group to teach individuals how to believe happens whenever people come together to help one another change. Belief is easier when it occurs in a community. That community I have, no one has. It's not mine. It's my people who do my program and who talk about just go there and read. Because it's kind of like being in the ring. And if you're a guy who's a babyface, the biggest thing, your biggest dream is that people will start chanting your name. Because that means you're over. Because you can't pay people to chant your name. You can pipe it through, to try to get them to do it, but they're still never really going to do it. Yeah. Until they feel moved by that character. To really do that, to chant, whether it's Stone Cold or Rocky or Hulkster, or Let's Go Sting or DDP, they got to be moved. On the internet, you'll never get people to write more than a couple of lines.
Yeah,
you go and read what people write about DDP yoga, it's the most powerful shit we got.
I love it.
And it's life-changing. Bro, as always, it's been your pleasure. As far as
100%.
Did you get your son started on the program yet?
We're starting. We've been through I just want to say, I'll tell you everything in a second. I just wanted to end it off here. And I want to say thank you. Everything on our show notes, I'm going to put all information. I'm going to put on our storylines of all the companies, all our social platforms, all 12 social platforms, how to get a hold of the program, how to get a hold of DDP. incredible individual. I want to once again thank you for coming on. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, my pleasure, buddy. It's been your pleasure, though.
That's a wrap for today. I want to thank our guest, Diamond Dallas Page, for taking time out of his incredibly busy schedule to be a guest on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. Great interview today. If you guys enjoyed it as much as I have, please do, like always, tell your friends, tell your family, spread the word, leave a review. 5 stars will be absolutely amazing. Myself and my staff love taking time to read our reviews. Until next week, guys, keep moving forward.